Hi, I want to talk today about property and the power and strength of property as an investment. This is a little magazine. You can pick it up free of charge at any coffee shop. I got this one at Checkers, and you can leaf through it and you can see for yourself what is available. And what was available, I saw today, is a complex where I used to stay, which is called a Liesenheim. And there's a little flat, similar to where I was, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, balcony, under roof parking, and it's costing $892,500. By the way, that's what they're asking for the property. We'll come back to that now. That's what the sellers are asking. You can negotiate. This is the beauty. It's like buying a second-hand car. You don't pay the price that it says on the sticker. You can negotiate. Anyway, they want $892,500, and inevitably you see these comments: "Is it available to rent?" And I want to bash my head against the table because, as we'll see shortly, you can probably buy this for the same as you could rent it, if not less. So on the very same page, this is Joseph and Snyman, by the way. Here's similar flat, also at a Liesenheim, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 baharoom, open plan kitchen, etc. Balcony with a braai, and it doesn't say undercover parking, but I know Blackthorn Square, there's undercover parking for your car. Lovely, $8,000 a month. Okay, now we do some calculations, and the first thing, when you see that the property costs $892,000, you probably think, the first thing you think is, oh my goodness, that's too much, I don't earn that money, that's too expensive, etc., etc. What you need to first of all find out from your bank, and you can do this online, is how much would this cost me per month? How much would it cost me per month? And I go into Bank Windhoek. You can go into any one you want. Doesn't have to be your bank, by the way. You can play the banks against each other. I hope you know that. Standard Bank, FNB, Nedbank, Bank Windhoek. You can have fun and say, but hang on, Bank Windhoek offer me a better deal, and da-da-da-da-da. Bank Windhoek, by the way, offer you over 30 years, which brings your payments down a little bit and brings your minimum monthly income down a little bit. Hopefully you're not going to spend 30 years paying it off. Hopefully you're going to be clever and pay it off quicker than that. But it's nice to have that little space. So $850, I've negotiated the price of that flat down. I've saved up $20,000 deposit. I'm going to be conservative and say 9%. It can go up, it can go down, but normally it'll stay pretty similar. And it's going to cost me $6,000 a month, $6,678 a month. What do I need? $24,000 is my monthly income that I would need to afford that. So now you've got a rough idea. You can also see, by the way, if I'm earning $20,000 a month, what I could buy would be a flat probably for $800,000. So you can work out how these things are. Obviously, when you buy a flat, you have to pay a levy as well. I'm guessing it's about $1,200. You have to pay rates, let's say $200. So altogether, you're going to be paying $8,078 a month, which is basically what the guy was paying to rent, $8,000 a month. So for $78 more a month, you're actually on your first steps to buying the property. That levy, by the way, is a fantastic thing. It covers insurance, it covers your geyser if there's problems, it covers the roof if there are problems, it covers alarms, it covers security guards, electric fence, electric gates breaking, falling off. If you own a home, you'll know all of these problems. They're all included in that levy. Hallelujah. Now, let's work out over 10 years. On the left is the owner, there's the mortgage. It could even go down, it could go up a little bit, but let's keep it the way it is, 6, 7, 8 a month. The levy will go up, so I've counted for that. The rates will go up. So by the year 2032, that's 10 years from now, the owner will be paying not $8,078 a month, but more like $9,000 a month. It's gone up. But look at the renter. He's paying $8,000 a month now. It's going to go up every year. Next year, 8,800. Okay, I can afford that. Next year, 9,000. Next year, 10,000, 11, 12, etc. In 10 years' time, by 2032, the renter is paying 20,000 a month, more than double what the owner is paying. And by the way, can you understand this gets worse? Or it gets better for the owner as we go along, and it gets worse for the renter. And of course, by the time we hit 2042, if you paid it off in 20 years, or 2052, if you pay it off in 30 years, you paid off the flat. It's yours. So you can forget the mortgage. All you have is the levy and the rates. You're basically paying about 2,000 a month, whereas the renter is paying 20,000 a month. It just gets better and better for the owner and worse for the renter. And of course, your asset grows. Let me move myself out of the way. You can see that the asset grows. 2032, it's going to be worth probably 1.3 million. It might not be. It might be worth less. It might be worth more. Who knows what life is going to be like in 10 years' time. But generally, property over time goes up. I mean, one estate agent explains to me it's because, there's a limited amount of space, there's a limited amount of properties, the population is growing, more and more people need a roof over their head. Property is the way to go. All right, so the value of the property goes up. So let's say we're now in 10 years' time. You only owe the bank 850. You actually owe the bank less, because for 10 years you've been paying off that mortgage. You probably owe them 750, maybe even less. But your asset, your property, your flat is now worth 1.3 million, nearly 1.4 million. So you've got an asset worth 1.4 million. You've got a liability to the bank of 700,000. Your asset is worth more than your liability. So now you have some interesting options. Because you're an owner, you've got interesting options. You need $200,000 to buy a new car. And I've done all of these things myself. I'm talking from my own experience. And if you need help with this, please go and see your bank. They're not there to eat you up. They're there to help you and to give you advice. So the advice I'm giving you here is just based on my own experience. This is what I did. You go to the bank, you say, hey, I need 200,000. They revalue your property. They say, oh, it's now worth 1.3 million. They look at your debt, it's only 700,000 because you've been paying it off, and they say, hey, here you go. Here's 200,000. Enjoy. I think in my case, it was a simple one-page form to fill in, sign there, and here's your money, Mr. Tyson, it's in the bank tomorrow morning. Simple as that. Because the asset, the property, is worth so much more than the liability, your debt. Even if you don't pay off that debt ever again, even if you don't pay them back that 200,000 for your new car, they're still covered. They are still covered because the flat is grown in value. I hope it's making it clear. And you've had that flat for 10 years now, and you've been living in there, and you are now married, and you maybe have kids, and you and your wife say, we need to start buying something really freestanding. We need to now buy our dream house. Now, here's a couple of advantages. Please get married. Because according to the law and according to the bank, there are now 2 incomes to take into account, not just one income. Plus, don't forget, the rent from that flat is also regarded as an income, because you're not living there anymore. You're not going to be living in this dream house of yours. So now you can suddenly buy yourself a house worth 2 million. Because you're getting, let's say, 25,000 a month salary, your wife earns the same, and you're getting that 8,000 from the flat. Your total income is 58,000, and guess what? Bank Windhoek wants from you to buy that $2 million house with a 40,000 deposit. Bank Windhoek says you should have a monthly income of $58,000. You've got it. You, your wife, the rent. Do you see how this comes on now? Can you vision yourself now when you turn 60 or 65? My goodness, you're living in that lovely house. It's fully paid off. So all you're paying is the rates and taxes. You still have that flat, fully paid off, and that tenant in the flat is bringing you an income every month to supplement your pension. As an investor, all of what I'm telling you requires a level of optimism. You need to be optimistic about where we're going. I bought property in 83 when this wasn't even Namibia. I bought property in 1990 when this became independent and it was a new country and nobody knew what was going to happen. I bought property in the year 2000 when, the world was going to come to an end, etc., etc., etc. You've got to be positive. Will Namibia grow and prosper? I think yes. Will property grow in value? I think yes. Will the country still exist? I think yes. Will the Namibian dollar be strong? Who knows? I mean, if you're really playing that game, then yeah, by all means, go and buy yourself some overseas property. But I mean, we're living in Namibia. We've got jobs in Namibia. We know Namibia. You and your family are living in Namibia. Your kids are going to grow up in Namibia. So we can't really play that game. Will there be jobs? Hopefully. The reason I'm saying hopefully, of course, if there aren't jobs, then you won't have people to rent your flat. So, we need to hope that the country will grow, that there will be jobs. Will there be a revolution? Who knows? Will there be World War III? Well, in which case we can all just give up and go home. And, I think you've got to be, there has to be a level of optimism in your thinking to say, I'm putting down my money because I think things are going to get better, things are going to grow, the country is going to develop, my property is going to increase in value, people are going to carry on renting my property, etc. If you don't believe in these things, you think the country is going to fall to pieces, I don't know what, gold bars, wristwatches, overseas currency, I don't know what you want to invest in, but I think for the average Namibian, this is the way to go. A couple of worst case scenarios before we end off. What happens if you lose your job? 10 years' time, you lose your job. You've been paying this monthly payments. Normally, you'll find that the banks are quite reluctant. The banks are not in the business of selling houses, so they really don't want to repossess your home, and they can normally renegotiate. But if the worst comes to the worst, you sell your asset. Remember, it's worth nearly 1.4 million. You pay the bank their outstanding balance on the mortgage, $750. You have now $630,000 to your credit to keep you going, to rent a place in the meantime, to keep you alive. At least you have something. If you're a renter and you lose your job, you've got nothing. You owe the landlord $8,000 a month. I'm talking today's money, which you don't have because you've lost your job, and you have absolutely nothing. For me, that's a terrifying scenario. Other gloomy scenarios. What happens if my house burns to the ground? No problem. You're covered by insurance. In the case of a flat sectional title, it's included in the levy. What happens if I die? Well, here's the good news, not for you, but for your heirs and for your family. As an owner, you have an asset. And even if you haven't fully paid it off, it's normally covered by compulsory life insurance that the bank wants you to take out. That asset is fully now paid off, and you will pass it on to your wife, to your husband, to your children. Everybody's happy. As a tenant, you leave your family absolutely nothing. Zilch. Nada. All right. I'll wait for your comments if you have any. Maybe you disagree with some of the things I'm saying, but as I say, I'm speaking from experience. This is my own experience. And again, urge you, if you can, please put down some roots, start paying a mortgage and start buying the property and get onto that property ladder. Good luck.